Right, my darlings. Greetings again from sacred space at Titania's realm. My video got cut short, interrupted by the 10 a.m. alarm I set, because as I stated, I'm off to my hairdresser today, and I don't like to be late for things, you know, and my anxiety and my trauma issues, I have to prepare, and sometimes I get myself so worked up that I don't sleep much the night before I have, you know, a really ordinary, mediocre appointment. It's like I just get heightened, and it's really quite nuts. But that's not the reason, well, might be part of the reason, that I didn't sleep much last night, and why the purpose of making my video. And as I made the introduction and part one of this video, was working with the hammers and getting into a flow state and having messages from spirit. And the messages went along the lines of sort of like, you know, you're happy and you're working with your hammers, and, you know, reminding me about Thor, and reminding me about the gods, and reminding me about you know, grace under fire and humility. And I just sort of, you know, kept polishing and grinding, and, you know, wasn't really taking too much notice of it or expecting any unusual spiritual or unusual communications. So I went to bed, went to sleep, I think around about midnight, because I figured, you know, that I would get up by 9 a.m. and be ready to go. And around about, because I'm an old lady and I've had, you know, serious surgery on my bladder, TMI, I know, but, you know, back in 2007, but now I'm in the wonderful twilight zone that is menopause, of being constantly writhing on my bed, overheated, and hot and cold, chills all night, plus constantly having to, you know, to run to the loo at least 3-4 times a night, which, by the way, is very, very draining on the body and the psyche when you want to lie down and rest and you have to constantly get up. So anyway, one of the times I got up, which I think was 2 a.m., around about 2 a.m. Brisbane time. Oh, we're going to be interrupted again because my parcel's arriving. Anyway, I saw, and I thought about ignoring it because it's the middle of the night, and I don't usually, I try not to go on, you know, on the internet during my sleep time, because, you know, I get lost in space down that rabbit hole that is the internet, and hours go by, and, you know, it's hard. Yes, it is indeed the postman. So I'll just go out. We'll go out and we'll get my parcel, because I'm glad it arrived before I went to the hairdresser. Everything's in perfect timing, perfect flow, except for making videos. So here's my beautiful garden, my little bird, and my washing that I Pollyanna-ish and trying to dry in the middle of a, you know, rainy season. Oh, good, he left it without me having to have any actual interaction. Noise. So, where was I? Yeah, so anyway, I got up in the middle of the night, 2 a.m, and looked at my phone, and it said that I had a message. No, it didn't say I had a message. It said I had a love heart from Curt Jaimungal. I'm not trying to be a smart-ass, Kurt. I still can't pronounce your name properly. Please forgive me. I really am struggling. Curt Jaimungal, I think it's pronounced. Anyway, and I thought, what nonsense and mischief is this? Because it was a love heart when I looked at it that he had put on a comment that I had made months ago. And I had stumbled across yesterday an old video that I made on 22nd of January when I was writhing in full trauma activation because I'd well, thought I'd ended a 30-year friendship, but it's still kind of, you know, wavering, so I don't know if it's ended completely or whether it's... Anyway, we won't go there. Love you, Jared. So anyway, but in that video I had made about me feeling sorry for myself because, you know, I was feeling undervalued and not really communicated with, and I was cutting ties left, right and centre with people that I felt were disrespecting me as a human being, never mind as, you know, whatever, disrespect and dishonouring. I was very, very upset. And halfway through that video, oh, look at my hair. Oh, God bless. Oh, well, as you can see, I'm a real person with my ravings. And so I segued into, because I had been very triggered and distressed and upset about the epic bullying that went on Curt's show, The Theory of Everything, which, by the way, is a wonderful show, and I had followed avidly for, you know, weeks prior to this interview with Linda Moulton Howe. So, and because I'm old and I'm a trauma survivor and I've had a lot of struggles with my health, these are just not really excuses, but they're just a background to it. I tend to get a bit hyperlative and a bit impassioned about any perceived abuses of even other women on my watch, and I go into warrior goddess protector mode, which is actually quite nuts, because as I say, you know, these people don't know me and I don't really know them, and in the broad scheme of things, you know, it's like, who the hell am I to jump on things and go on my little tirades and rants and get myself so distressed that I'm actually ill for months after as well. It's actually, it's the gift that keeps giving, right? But that's how I roll. I've been fighting since I was a very small child for my own mere survival. And the internet is such a magical, powerful gift. You know, it has so much potential to bring human beings into connectivity across all cultures, creeds, religions, cultures and creeds, and status and socio-economic background and varying human experience, because we are a macrocosm and a microcosm, and we are just so connected via the internet. But the internet can be a seething hotbed of ugliness and putridness, depending on which shit and which day, right? Anyway, I am so honoured and amazed, quite frankly, that this stranger to me, whose show I critiqued quite evisceratingly, excoriatingly, because I was fucking livid, this gentleman, Curt Jaimungal, actually sent me a message on my video to say that he had indeed apologised to Linda Moulton Howe. Well, I didn't get that background, you know, I wasn't aware of that at that time, and that he had accepted fault for his behaviours, but that I did call him quite a few names, and I did call him quite a few names because I was exercised in that moment. And so I apologised to him and said, yes, I did do that, and, you know, it was my passion and my fire and protector mode, my warrior goddess insanity in a way. But there had been such intense bullying on that actual page, on that video of his, that I'd kind of, you know, really gone into overdrive. So I'm making this video because I'm just so amazed. It just shows you that the little algorithms on Facebook, and not just the algorithms that connect us up when we, you know, critique someone or complain about someone on the internet, but it gets back to the actual, you know, original people a blessing and a curse, because it means we can't gossip about anyone, we can't slander anyone. Well, I wouldn't slander anyone anyway, not maliciously. I might say a few names when I'm exercised about some behaviours that I thought were inappropriate, but I wouldn't willingly be malicious and slander anyone. It's just not my vibe, man. So anyway, he messaged me back and explained that he had apologised and so on, and I was just so, I must say, I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked that he actually responded to me. As I had said in my video, in the sea of 7 billion people, I'm a nobody and a nothing, and I was feeling quite distraught that day, and worthless and unloved and unappreciated and devalued. So here I was given this gift from someone I had pilloried, and maybe he did deserve my scathing excoriation, and maybe he didn't. You know, maybe it was all part of me overreacting, because, as I stated, older women deserve to be treated with kindness and tenderness and respect just as much as younger people do. It cuts both ways. The sword of Damocles and our societal mores. We are all interconnected via the internet. So I was so grateful. I actually said I'm very honoured and gratified, and I truly am. And then he wrote something lovely back and said, well, I'm honoured and gratified too. And I'm thinking, that is even more wonderful, given that I had been a complete, you know, seething, almost bordering on psychotic bitch. But this is the thing with me, is when I get nasty like that, it's not over anything trivial. It seems trivial in the broad scheme of things, but it's never trivial. It's because, you know, because of my background of abuse, that I can sit there in the midst of literally in a tornado, and deconstruct all the bullshit that's going on, provided I have all the facts, right? And we don't always have all the facts. And sometimes we're lied to, but, you know, I accepted that his apology, and that he had stated that he had actually communicated with Ms. Moulton Howe, and you know, and I'm happy and satisfied with that. And as I said, I'm astonished that he felt moved to let me know that he had, you know, seen my video and taken on board prior to that, back in January, my dismay. So to me, it almost feels miraculous that has actually occurred, because, you know, most people don't respond, don't take the time to respond, and don't really care, you know. So I feel loved, not loved in a you know, any kind of romantic or you know, it's agape love. I feel agape loved. I feel seen and heard and respected, and that, believe you me, is a rarity. It's being seen, heard and respected, in spite of my furious purgings and outbursts in the moment. I feel very honoured and valued and appreciated. So thank you, Curt, and thank you to those of you, the very few people who watch my videos, who also, you know, understand where I'm coming from in my weird, you know, paranormal, metaphysical ways. It truly felt like, because I, after that connection with Curt, I actually spent a few hours watching a few of my other videos, because I thought, how crazy must I look to the uninitiated? You know, so, and that's again, gaslighting myself and doubting myself and fearing other people's opinions, which it's not about that. I don't make these videos to get attention or to get aggrandizement, really. I just make them because I'm upset about something, or something's on my mind and I feel the need to express, and then I feel I have to give the background of who I am, because I am a complete stranger, and some of my ideas must seem weird given, normal mainstream people who aren't interested in the paranormal or UFOs or even the mythology or the gods, who are head down, arse up, and just living ordinary lives, going to work each day, feeding their families, coming home exhausted, doing the housework, rolling into bed. It's like people don't have time for that. And my wealth is that I have time to think about things, my own life experiences, and deconstruct things, and basically go to war from time to time when I see things slip sliding into a dark black hole of a morass of obliteration of the female. Currently we have in America the Roe versus Wade debacle, and that's distressing too. All of it's distressing. Anytime we backslide into the the dark ages of the Middle Ages, it scares the bejesus out of me. It's very destabilising. Very destabilising. So, but the gift came through in the middle of the night, was this lovely message from Curt explaining about why the heart was removed off my comment, which I wasn't all that bothered about that. It's his page, and he can manage his page how he likes, and if he puts a heart or he doesn't put a heart, that's okay by me, really. But it was just a clarification that I thought was deeply respectful and caring. So, once again, after accusing the man of being a narcissistic psychopath, because that's how it looked back in January, and I was really, really incensed by that, because having been raised by narcissists and psychopaths, I usually have a fairly good antenna for that, and I would hate to misjudge someone based on my emotional reactivity at the time, wanting to be protective of an elderly woman who was very, 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 very knowledgeable and dignified and worthy, as are all human beings. It was an important lesson to me, actually, because I went downhill into quite some physical malaise, because I upset myself so much over it. And I had to tell myself, one must stop getting involved in things on the internet to the point where one makes oneself so ill. I don't have the luxury of getting into these wrangles because my health is so fragile. But yet I still do it, because the truth and openness and transparency and honour and grace under fire and dignity and the human advancement and evolution of our species into something connected and valued and uplifting is too important. So I will continue, very likely continue to get myself into various fracas from time to time, rightly or wrongly, because I'm human and I make mistakes too. And anyway, I must dash. It's 20 to 11. And but I wanted to acknowledge that lovely thing happened, and to thank Curt Jaimungal again for that. That was very sweet and caring and respectful. It means a lot to me, actually, a great deal. You now have a fan. I will very likely, because I haven't watched your show since then, because I made a vow to myself that I wouldn't engage with people that I thought were toxic and evil. So now that you've demonstrated that you are actually a genuine person and caring and respectful, I will go back to watching your wonderful shows, which, believe it or not, are more edifying for me because I'm learning too from, your various guests that come on, and we learn from each other. In Kabbalah we teach to learn is to teach, and to teach is to learn. And again, it's about the interconnectedness of the human experience and the sharing of wisdom, and doing so in a way that is edifying and gracious and kind and nurturing. We all need soul nurturing and, exponential growth, especially in these horrific, awful times. But I want to show you, before I go, we've had constant misery rain, and as I said in video number 1, Pollyanna, Tanya, put my washing out yesterday. But look at the beautiful light in the garden. Absolutely exquisite, bright sunlight today. And we had a little smattering of sunlight yesterday morning too, and then it slammed us again with, more dark misery and rains. Starting to wonder if it's all engineered, people, but that's me. I get a bit paranoid like that. But HARP was a real thing, and I'm quite certain that they're doing a little bit of climate engineering here in Brisbane and across the globe. But today, the gods, or the climate scientists, or whoever's running the show, gifted us a sunny day. The dog's just beside himself with joy. So, on that note, have a wonderful day, morning, night, evening, afternoon, wherever you are on the space-time continuum. And I feel well aware that the gods, which includes the extraterrestrials, the benevolent races, are watching us and our performance and how we conduct ourselves and how we show deep respect and humility for each other and for the gods and for our beautiful earth that we've been consigned to live on for however long our lifespan is. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's so beautiful, but sometimes it's so frustrating too, to be stuck in a frail, aging human body feeling isolated and maligned. So, and before that, I was in a very young body feeling isolated and maligned. So nothing changes if nothing changes. But these little gifts from various people on the internet teach me that change is here, and there are such immense, wise and beautiful people still on this planet, and we have little ways of finding each other via the internet, and I'm so grateful for that and delighted. So on that note, goodbye, have a wonderful day, God's bless.